Sharon, have you ever played Math 24 before? I'm interested to know. And do you find my little block of instructions about Math 24 helpful? So one of the things I said in the last lesson was it would be very good to have sort of a basic instruction for how Math 24 worked. And then also the other thing is, as a class, we decided useful strategies for solving Math 24 questions are like trying to make the numbers 12 and 2, 6 and 4, or 8 and 3. And so as we get new strategies that students give us, I'll keep adding them to my block. So Sharon says she's never played before, but I saw how I played it. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so guys, we're not quite ready to get going yet, but I'd love for everyone to try and get as close to 24 as you can on the red card. And then if you can do that one, try and do the blue one as well. Because I really feel that we really need to put effort into this first warm-up part of our lesson. And we're not just doing this randomly. Like, we really know this is going to help us with our maths. So I'm going to check Rebetsue's answer. Rebetsue has put an answer in for the red one, but there may also be another way of doing it. So I do agree, Rebetsue, your way is correct at the moment, but there may also be other ways of doing the red card. So Rebetsue has said, oh, let me get this.
Well done, Rebetsue.
4 times 5 is 20, and then 7 minus 3 is 4, and so that gives me 24. And so that's one way of solving the red card. There may be another one, but I'd love to see if students can do the blue one as well. Okay, so yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying it, Shannon. Hi, Minnie, welcome, welcome. Atlichang, 4 times 3 is 12. 12, yeah, Atlichang has another way of doing the red card. So if we look at, and this is what I love about Math 24, there's always many ways to do it. So 4 times 3 is 12, and then 12 plus 7 plus 5 gets me to 24. So we have 2 ways of doing the red card there.
Well done, guys.
Hi, Farid. Who can do the...
Super C here, tried another one.
That is the red card. So everybody is definitely getting the red card, which in soccer would be a bad thing, but in maths, it's a good thing. And let's see if anybody can get close on the blue one. I'm going to give 1 more minute, and then we're going to start the lesson properly. But a huge welcome to everyone joining us. It's fantastic. We are just doing a warm-up activity called Math 24, and you can read the instructions on the screen here. And so far, we have 2 answers for the red one. We don't have an answer yet for the blue one. And so I'm giving students a chance to just, yeah, what can you do with, this is a 6 and a 5 and a 2 and a 2.
Let's do this, guys. Let's do this. I trust you, my people.
I was thinking, what is the strategies that we said? Could we make a 12 and a 2? Could we make a 8 and 3? Or could we make a 6 and a 4? Aha, Minnie has an answer for us. Let's see what Minnie says. So Minnie has said 7 minus 4 is 3. And then, aha, but where did you get your 7 minus, okay, yes. Okay, you put the 5 and the 3 together to get your 8. Okay. So with the blue one, I'll give you a little hint. What if you went 5 minus 2? So 5 minus 2 gives me 3. Could anybody finish off the blue card? Anybody know how to get to 24? Remember, this is a 6, and that's a 2 there as well. How can we use those last 2 numbers to help us get to 24? Who's got an idea?
Super Sihle, well done for trying, girl. We see you. We see you.
So, okay, we're going to move on now, guys. But what I was thinking is, what do I get if I go 6 plus 2? Don't I get 8? And then if I had 5, oh, there we go. And if I had 5 minus 2, I had 3. And then what is 8 times 3? It's 24. Okay, so that's the Maths 24 part of the lesson done and dusted. I really want you, every time we come to class, I really want you to put effort into this, even if you get here a bit earlier. We know that if our mental maths is strong, it really helps us with our maths. And I found this is such a nice way to do it. Okay, cool. So on to the lesson itself. So before we actually properly get going, a lot of students have been asking us about the holidays and about whether Watobe continues in the holidays. Guys, I'm super happy to tell you the show goes on in the holidays. So we don't take a break. We just keep rolling. Every Monday, every Wednesday, we will be online and you're welcome to join us. And if you keep coming back, if you keep practicing, you will improve. Okay, so that's the one thing. And then the other important announcement is that students are asking a lot going into exams, have you done this topic or have you done this other topic? Now, at the moment, we're going to be teaching you about algebra. That's this course that we're in. But if you go to the website, it looks like this, and you click on classes, and then you select your grade, you select grade 8. And then in grade 8, you will see there are recordings to all past topics that we've done. And so if you need to brush up on your exponents, or you need to brush up on number patterns, click on that and go there, and you can get help from us from past recordings. Okay, so give me a thumbs up if you understand where to find the videos. Give us a thumbs up in the chat if you understand where to go. Give us a thumbs down if you're not really sure what I'm talking about. Okay, awesome. So, Yolanda, before we get properly going, anything from your side, any comments or questions or things you want to say to the students? Otherwise, I'm going to go full teacher mode.
Okay, I just want to remind my people that today is the quiz day, everybody. Isn't it exciting? So today is a quiz day, people. So wherever you are, I hope that you're sitting at a table, right, with a paper and a pen, or a book and a pen, because it's important that you write every single examples with us and participate. And since I've muted all of you, you raise your hand, you know, when Teacher Peter wants to you to ask any questions or to say some answers. So guys, you've been really, really good. And remember, I'm just going to repeat this announcement that during the holidays, we're still going to be here teaching everybody. So it's very important, okay? So we hope to see you, because you're going to learn a lot, and you're going to learn, you know, things that you didn't know in your exam. Hopefully it's not a lot, but okay. Okay. So you, Teacher Peter.
Cheers. Thanks, man. So yeah, let's get going. So in the previous lesson, and for those who are new, you may need to do a bit of catching up now. We spoke about writing down from words into algebra. And so I'm going to do one example here, then I'm going to ask you to just see, can you still do these things we were doing in the last lesson? And an example would be, if I said, add 6 to R and then divide by 5, in algebra, that would mean starting with R, adding 6, and then dividing by 5. And so that would be an algebraic expression describing these words over here in yellow. Now, what I want you to try and do now is I'm going to give you 2 to 3 minutes to just make sure that you can translate the ones in green. And I want you to write down your answers on your book, in your book. And there's 1 or 2 that are actually a little sneaky. And so over to you guys. Get your pen out, get your piece of paper out, and can you translate the stuff in green into algebra? And the last lesson was all about using variables as placeholders for things. Okay, over to you guys.
Let's go, guys. Woo, thunder on fire.
There's a request to make it bigger, so I can make it bigger. Yes, all good. So remember, we're doing the ones in green. Now, I want to be a little bit sneaky and say, be careful what order something happens, because if you add something to something, I'm sounding very algebraic, aren't I? And you multiply it, are you multiplying just the original thing, or are you multiplying both things? And what way in mathematics do we have of ensuring two things stay together? So that's my little technique, or my little tip, rather. Okay, I see answers coming in. I'm going to give you a little bit more time. I'm actually even going to label these A, B, C, and D, just to make sure that we are referring to the same thing.
Yeah, that helped me. Thank you, Teacher Peter.
Otherwise, we don't know what we're talking about. Yeah, exactly. Labeling is our friend. Okay, so for A, if I say add 1 to S, that's basically going to be starting with S and I add 1. But now I need to multiply this whole thing by 6. So I either write it like this, and remember this is an S over here, it's not a 5. My handwriting isn't helping. So should I make this a very snaky S? There we go. So S plus 1 times 6. Or if you're very well versed in algebra, some of you may have written a 6 times S plus 1. And let me make it in blue again. Now, a lot of students, I think, got caught that they wanted to multiply just one thing by 6. But we need the bracket to make sure everything is being multiplied by 6. It's almost like we give everything, we hug them, and we hold them together, and then we multiply that by 6. Okay, so that's the answer for A. Then the answer for B, subtract t from 6 and then divide by 4. So subtract t from 6. So I'm starting with 6 and I'm taking away t. And then that whole thing is being divided by 4. Okay. Now, you may say, okay, should we not put a bracket around this one as well? And you could, but it's almost like it's already being held in a bracket by the fraction line. And so that's why you don't have to put a bracket around 6 minus t in this case, because there's like a bracket that's hiding or sort of forcing them apart over here. Then C, multiply u by itself and then subtract 6. Now, what does it mean when we multiply something by itself? Well, we just mean to go u times u, and then we take away 6. But in algebra, there's a special way of writing u times u, and that's going to be u squared. And so C can be written as u squared minus 6, or it can be written as u times u minus 6. And then D, add 1 to V and then square the answer. So I start with V, then I add 1, and now I need to square the answer. Now, when I square it, I have to put brackets around that answer. And the way we write squared is by writing to the power of 2. Another way of writing that, and probably actually a lot of students would have done this, is just to write V plus 1. When we square something, we're just multiplying something by itself. And so whatever you had to start with, V plus 1, you just, when you square it, you multiply it by that again. Otherwise, you can write V plus 1 squared. That would also be correct. Okay. So I just want to stop for a moment and give a thumbs up if you're following what we're doing. Give a thumbs down if you're feeling unsure. And then if any students want to ask questions, you can raise your hand and I'll gladly have a little chat about what I was doing here. Okay, would anybody like? Okay, so I'm going to, Matapelo, I'm going to unmute you and ask you to ask your question, and then we're going to practice this a little bit. Okay, yeah. So Matapelo, can you hear me?
Matapelo is gone on my side, so I'm not sure.
Okay, there's obviously, okay, let's just, I tell you what, we need a bit more practice. And so we will slow it down a little bit to practice this further. Okay. In fact, guys, give me a second. Let me go back to the previous lesson quickly and grab something from there where we can practice what we're doing now. Because I feel like we need one more question like this before we move on. Using variables, adding 6. So just gonna grab that.
So we'll practice more things so we can understand, isn't Teacher Peter?
Understand it, exactly, yeah. Before we move on to the new thing, I don't feel like we're quite ready to move on yet. So what I want you to do is I'm going to add, we're going to do these 5 questions. And then I'm going to say add, let's make it blue so you can see. Okay, so everyone, I have written up another round of questions for you very quickly. We're going to call this one A, B, C, D, E, and F. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the first one for you, and then maybe I'll even do the second one, and then you guys can do the remaining 4 ones. Okay, so if I'm going to start with this first bit, multiply R by 8, what does that mean? So if I'm going to multiply R by 8, that is basically just R times 8 like that. Or we could also write it as 8R. So that would be that part of the question. But there's a second part, and the second part is to add 1. And so I would get 8R plus 1 or R times 8 plus 1. Okay, so that is the first example. Now, what about the second example? I want you guys to try and do the second example, those who are struggling, and put your answer in the chat and see if we get, if you're feeling a bit better for the second example. In fact, everyone's going to do, let's have everybody just do B and C, and then I'll mark it. And I want to see if you're feeling better after that. Okay, so over to you guys. Everybody is doing the question in yellow. And I want to see, can you do that?
Let's go, guys.
Let's go.
Yes, I see some answers coming in.
So the question was, what are we dividing? So divide S by 5 and then add 2. So in B, you're taking S and you're dividing it by 5 and then you're adding 2. Okay. So S divided by 5, let me even, S divided by 5, which actually looks the same. Oh, that is, let me do it down here. B. So I have S divided by 5 plus 2, and I'm going to make this in blue just so it's very clear. So S divided by 5 plus 2. And for C, multiply T by 4. So the one way of doing that is to go T times 4, and then add 3 would be like this. Or if we're very practiced in algebra, we could write it as 4T plus 3. So that would be the answers for B and C. And for those students who were struggling, did that help? Maybe let us know in the chat. And for those students who are feeling very confident, or those students who are feeling like they want to move ahead, I want you to do D, E, and F now. Okay.
Guys, I'm also here to assist anyone.
Yolanda is feeling a bit left out. She says she wants some questions. So if you are unsure, don't be afraid to go to her to ask some questions. Okay. Okay, and then I want the answers for D, E, and F. So Jabulile, we're going to give D, E, and F a go. And then I'm going to, in a moment, I'm going to go through them with you in detail. But I just want to give enough time for everyone to try and do D, E, and F. And then for those students who want to keep B and C a permanent record, can I ask you to take a screenshot so that I can clear the board a little bit? I'm going to write the answers for D, E, and F in a moment. Okay. So take your screenshot if you need to. And then I see Kanyasile has his hand up or her hand up. So I'm going to unmute you and you can possibly ask a question.
So I wanted to ask, because of at the last one that is connecting T6 divided by 4. Do you remember it?
I'll have to go back. T6, say it again.
T minus 6 divided by 4.
Yes. That one.
Yeah, so that one, I get the equation said subtract 6 from T, and then you said 6 minus T, and I think it was supposed to be T minus 6 because they said subtract 6 from.
Okay, so whenever there's the from, I'll have to go back and check that on the recording. But if I switch those around, then that sounds reasonable. But I'm not going to be able to go back to that right now. Okay, but I'll have to check that one on the recording. Okay, so let's do question D. Add 2 to U. So if I start with U and I add 2, that's what I've got. But now I need to double that. And if I'm going to double something, what do? I times it by 2. Or you could have also written it as 2 in front of the bracket, U plus 2. So that would be the answer for D. For E, subtract 3 from V. So we were saying now a moment ago, it's really important that we look at the order here. Yeah? So subtract 3 from V. V is the thing that we're starting with. And we're taking away 3 from that V. And then I said we are going to add 4 to that. Now, what's interesting is if you go minus 3 plus 4, this can actually be simplified further. And so these two together are what we call like terms. And so we can actually write this whole thing as just V plus 1. That was a little bit of a foreshadowing of something called like terms, which I'm going to talk about later on today. And then F is going to be multiply W by 6. And I'm going to write it in sort of, when you multiply W by 6, we say that you get 6W, although you could have written it 6 times W. In this case, the order doesn't matter because it's multiplication. And then I said add 5. Okay. So I hope that that was helpful just to go back and revise the previous lesson. If you are new, then I would suggest go back and have a recording, look at the recording. I think it would be very, very helpful to you. Okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to move over onto something called substitution. And so we're just going to do, I'm going to do an example for you of how substitution works. And then after I've done an example, you're going to practice. And it's more stuff around just basically getting used to the language of algebra. Okay, so let me show you how this works. So what we have is, if I have an algebraic expression like this, b minus 4, and then I tell you, actually, b is 10, well then to get the answer, all I do is I substitute the 10 in for where b is, I take away 4, and my answer is going to be 6. And so in algebra, we call this substitution. The next one, 2c, if I tell you you have an algebraic term, 2c, but actually c is worth 6, then what is the answer for that expression if I substitute it in? I simply go 2, and when I have 2c, it means 2 multiplied by 6. I'm going to close my, and so I get 12. Okay, so what I want you guys to do now is I want you to try and do 4, 5, 6, and 7. I'm going to close my windows so that the sirens don't make a noise, and I'll be back in a second.
Hey, you guys are doing so good. Oh, you guys are doing good. I can see those answers coming in the chats. You got this. You got this, my people.
Over to you guys. Okay.
I see those hands and head and traits. You guys are doing good.
If you're willing to share your answers with us, I would love to have some students kind of give me the answers over the microphone. And so once you have got your answers, I invite you to raise your hand and then I will come to you and... Okay, so Scarlett, I see you are willing to help us. Could you give us the answer for some of these? I've asked to unmute you. See if you can click on the block. Hi, Scarlett. Can you hear me, Scarlett? Otherwise, we'll give Scarlett a moment.
I will have a chat with you to fix your audio. Okay, so let's chat.
Oratile, I'm going to come to you. Can you unmute yourself and maybe help us out?
I'm muted.
You know, you're good to go. Hi, Oratile.
How are you?
Very good. Can you help us out?
Okay. For which question?
For question 4, let's start with 4.
15. So you're going to take d minus 7. It's going to be 15 minus 7. And then the answer for that is going to be 8.
Perfect. And the next one?
For 5 plus e is going to be 5 plus 20. And that's going to be 25.
Okay, cool. Let's actually just keep going because you're doing really well. So what about the next one?
And then for 6, it's 12 plus f. And then
12 minus f, yeah?
Oh,
Okay,
12 minus
f.
And then it's going to be 12 minus 9, and that's 3.
Perfect.
And then
what's 6g?
6g with the value of 6 is going to be 6 times 6, and then it's going to be 36.
Perfect. Thank you so much, man.
No problem.
Awesome. So everyone, we're going to do one more of these before our break. And so could I ask you, if you need to take a screenshot, take your screenshot now. Or check your answers, because I want to squeeze in one more practice round of these before we have our brain break. Okay. So These are a little bit tougher than last time, but I believe in you guys. I know you can do this. So what you need to do is on the left-hand side, this is the expression, what we call the algebraic expression. And then this is the value over here in this column that we're substituting into the expression. And I want you to work out the answer for me. And luckily it goes from 10 to 16. So over to you guys. Can you get me the answer for 10 to 16, working with these algebraic expressions and substituting into them? Over to you.
Your time starts now. Those people that do that. And they give you a time. Let's go, guys.
So, Tandy, we're not taking answers yet, but I'll definitely take questions. So if you've got a question, Tandy, your hand is up. We can definitely take questions. So I'm going to ask you to unmute. Hi, Tandy.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Yes.
Okay, so what is the slash for in number 10?
I'm so glad you asked that. Slash is another way of writing division, but very good question.
Oh.
So it means J divided by 8. Yeah.
Oh. Thank you, sir.
Pleasure. Achuma, you also have your hand up. If you've got a question, we'd love to help.
So what if we're in a car and I can't answer the questions?
That is difficult. That does make life difficult. So I'm afraid then for today, just do the best you can.
Yes,
Cool.
sir.
Lesson is recorded at Chuma also.
Oh, there we go.
Visits.
Check out the recording. So the other thing I want to point out, guys, while you're working on this is look at the negatives, or some of them have negatives as their values. So when you're subbing in, just be aware, do negatives behave any differently?
Anacondas, guys. Let's do this.
So some of these are a little bit tougher. And you have to think, what do you get if you multiply 2 by -2? That might be something worth thinking about.
Sneaky questions, guys. Let's
Yeah,
not
like,
have all the signs.
okay, Jabulile, I'm going to come to you now. Can you unmute? There we go. Welcome, Jabulile. What's your question?
Do we write all the questions?
You don't have to write them. You just have to put the answer in the chat if you can, although we're going to check now. I'm going to, so some of these questions you will need to do working out for. It helps you. For example, question 11, you'll see that I'm doing a bit of working out because I need to first figure out what it means to go 2 times k with -2. So some questions need more working out than others. It just depends. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give answers for I'm going to ask for answers for the first 4 only. Then we're going to have a break and I'll come back to 14 to 16 after our break. Okay, so I'm going to ask students who are willing to raise their hand and then maybe help us with 11 to 13 now. Okay, Rebetswe, I'm going to unmute you. Could you help us with number 11? What's the final answer?
Yes, number 11 is going to be -1.
Okay. Tell us how you got to -1.
So because in a positive times a negative gives us a negative.
Yeah, exactly. So you get -4 plus 3 is what you got. Huh?
Yes, and when you add up a positive, it will give you a negative.
Yeah, a -1. Okay, so the correct answer for that one is -1. Did you manage to get the next one?
Yes, sir.
Could you talk me through that one?
So 12 is gonna be 3 times 7 minus 1, which is 20. Because
Okay,
L
so
is
you
7.
okay, so is that my working out matching what you said 3L means 3 times L. So I got 3 times 7 minus 1, which is then
Yes.
21 minus 1, and then that is that.
20.
Perfect. And then what about, let's do 13. Could you do 13 for me?
Yes, sir. So 13 is gonna be 2 multiplied by -1 minus 6.
Okay. Now, what part did you do first? Because I see I'm a little bit confused now. I feel like, which of the two parts do I have to execute first?
So I started with the multiplication first.
Yes.
So I said 2 multiplied by -1.
Exactly. And you got -2. Now, the reason I asked you that question is because BODMAS says you always do multiplication before you do
Right.
subtraction. And so that's why I was saying that. And then what was your final answer?
-8.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much.
Done, Rabbit's
That was
way.
fantastic. Okay, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to come back to this after the break, but we need to have a break because we've been working hard. So what I want you to do is I want everyone to stand up away from your tables, and I want you to do your favorite type of stretch. And so we are going to see what type of stretches are on offer. You can turn your cameras on, and I want to see the variety of stretches. I'm going to do a hamstring stretch while you guys are having your brain break. And let's see it. And then, Yolanda, if you could see, just give a shout out to the best stretchers in the class. Who looks like they wouldn't be out of place stretching by the side of an athletics track?
Zainab, I want to see your stretch. Oh, I can see you there. Let's stand up. It's good for you.
Kevin's doing a bit of a Usain Bolt, it looks like. A bit of a... that was pretty good. Do you know that stretch? The Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
Okay. So guys, please really do stand up. Make sure that you had a chance to stretch, because we're going to go into the second part of the lesson in a moment, but I really want to make sure that you are ready. Okay. Have we done this brain break before? Okay. Okay. So let's do it, guys. I want to know if you have a cat. Oh, some people have said we have done it before. Okay, I'll give you two.
We have seen the cat.
Okay, for those who are new to class, you can do the green one. For those who have been here a while, here is your challenge. And over to you guys. I want you to use them brains.
You guys are doing so well. Oh, I'm proud of this class. You're doing really, really well, guys.
I'm just gonna grab some water while you're working on the brain break.
Let's do this. Let's do it. Let's do it. Do it. Do it. Let's see, guys, and welcome to the newcomers. We welcome you. Ooh, I see some nice answers up there in the chat. You guys are awesome. Kevin, I see you there. You're so chilled. Let's try it. Let's try it, my man. Let's try this.
So definitely cats are 5. And then I see some people are saying, and that makes sense to me, 2 triangles equals, well, each triangle must be 3. So let's keep going on that one. So we have a bird must be 15. And maybe make it a bit of a different color. So we'll make that 15. Oh, that's not really helping. So 15, 15, 15, which means who is able to get what a raccoon is? Sure, the answers are flying so quickly in the chat, it's hard to keep up. But I think I saw 55 minus 15 is 40. So what is, for the green one, what is a raccoon plus a cat plus a bird going to be? What's the final answer going to be? So it's not going to be 60. You're close to 60, but you've forgotten there's this bit. What about these ones over here? Okay, so the correct answer for the green one is going to be 75.
Well done,
what
guys.
Did we get the answer for what a square is? You don't know? In the chat, has anybody managed to got it? I get this.
Not yet, not what I know. Those are the only ones that I got so far.
But I wanted to know the value of only a square. So we know that 2 triangles give us 6, a circle and a triangle is 5, so it must be 2. And using then algebra, we know that the 2 squares together must be 8, which means that each of them must be 4. And so the answer here is that a square must be equal to 4. Okay, fantastic. Well done, everyone. If you enjoyed the brain break today, just give us a thumbs up. If you I just want to get a sense of this, of how you're finding them. I love them, but I just want to get a quick.
They're really nice. Yes, I see. Everybody loves it.
Okay, so well done. That was really nicely done. And each time we do a brain break, our brains get a bit stronger. Okay, cool. Let's do 14 to 16. See if you can get the answers for 14 to 16, and then pop them in the chat. And then I will give you the answers once you've had a chance to try. So we are now doing these 3. And if you are able to help us, raise your hand and we can work through them together. So just raise your hand if you're willing to share your answers when you've got them. Okay, Ayanda, could you help us with any of these?
Hello, sir.
Okay, how's it going?
Good, sir.
So tell us what your answer for 14 was.
My answer for 14 was -2.
I agree, because you just go 13 minus 15. Yeah.
Yes.
What about the next one?
I got 21 because I said 3, but I added what's in the brackets, which is 5 plus 2,
Okay, so
which is 7.
So you went 5 plus 2, and then you said
Times
there
3.
was a 3 in front, which
Yes.
is really the same as saying 3 times what was in the brackets. And then what was your
Yes.
final answer?
21.
Okay, I agree with you. And you're doing so well, why don't you go for 3 in a row? Have you managed to do the last one?
Okay, so I got 5 times 7 is 35
because 8 minus 1 is 7, and
Okay.
7 times 5 is 35.
Let's slow it down for a second. So you automatically, you knew that you had to work out what was in the bracket first.
Yes.
And then you went 5 times by 7. And then your final answer?
35.
35.
You go, girl.
Yes.
Well done, Amanda.
Well done. Okay,
Thank you,
that's
sir.
perfect. So the answers we got there, I left, there's -2. Then we got the answer 21. And then we got the answer 35. Okay, so I feel like you guys have got the substitution thing and you're starting to get the basic language of algebra. I just want to finish today with an example of something called like terms. And so in algebra, whenever we have basically this, okay, in fact, let's just do an example together. If the letter name is the same, we can add or subtract the placeholder. So I want everyone, oh, something just changed on my screen. Did you guys see that? Or is my screen?
Yeah, something cool just happened, but I don't know what.
I brought it back. It was my setting. Okay, so I will do the first one. If I look at the term, the expression y plus y plus y plus y, in algebra, we would say that that can be written more easily as 4y. So this whole long thing can be simplified to 4y. And what I'm doing is in algebra, we call this collecting like terms. So I want to see, can you collect the like terms for B, C, and D? Get me an answer, a simplified answer for B, C, and D. Over to you guys. Yeah, I see the answers are flying in, aren't they?
Yeah, can you see it's like done after putting her answer? She's like
1, 2, 3, 4. So I first check that these are like terms, and I see lots of students are saying they know that B is just 5W. Okay, what about C and D? Let's see who else wants to give us. Matapelo, do you want to help us with C and D? What did you get for C? Matapelo?
I got C, sir.
So I think I heard you say you got 6A.
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. And then the last one should just be 3S. Okay. Because there's 1S, 2S, 3S. Because these are like terms or they're the same variable name, we can add them together or subtract them. Let's do a slightly harder one. Can you guys simplify? Can you guys simplify these 4 algebraic expressions for me? Over to you guys. Ooh. And then I will come to you in a moment. Fareed, I see that you've raised your hand. Could you just help me just with I? Fareed?
Hello, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
What did you get for I?
I got 5y.
Okay. And so it wasn't a problem that there was a 3y and a 2y because they came from the same family. They like terms. You said you could just put them together and you get 5y. And I absolutely agree. Could you do J for me?
It's 7a.
Okay. So this is important. Again, you notice that they're both A's. You could even sometimes say, people would say they're apples. If you've got 4 apples and 3 apples and you add them together, you get 7A.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Thank you so much. That was awesome. So I think if I'm looking at the chat and I see Batley has given us the answer for K. If you've got 9K and you add 5K, these are both the same type of thing or like terms. And so who else can put the answer in the chat for K and for L? Okay, I see lots of people are getting it. For K, the answer is going to just be 14K. And then for L, what's it going to be? I see that, Yolanda, and I agree with you. What is it if you've got something M? This is a 1M. So if you've got 7 M's and you add 1 M, you get 8M is the answer. Perfect. Okay, you guys are doing so well. Let us just finish today with these 4 questions that I'm going to choose 4. So not just, I'm going to custom make 4 questions I want you guys to do. I want you to do those, and I want you to do those 4. So the last 4 questions of the day, and then I want you to pop those answers in the chat.
Let's do this, guys. The last.
And then if you could just get the quiz ready, Yolanda, that would be awesome.
Ready with the quiz.
You ready? Okay. So I see answers coming through quite quickly, and I think people have understood this like terms idea fairly well. And so I'm going to just write the answer in to help everyone above it. So this would be 35C. And this one would be 3W. So there's just 2 more for you guys to work out. What is 7y minus 2y plus y? And what is 5u minus 4u? So 7 minus 2 gives me 5y. And if I add 1 more y, I'm going to get 6y. Perfect. And if I go 5u minus 4u, I'm left with 1u, or you could just write it as just plain old u. In algebra, 1u and u is the same thing. Okay, just want to say really well done. If we look back at today, we've covered much more advanced algebraic expressions. We're really starting to get to, proper algebra now, and everyone has done really nicely. In order to practice what you've learned, I want to ask everyone to go and do the quiz now. I'm not going to do polls today. We're going to do polls on Tuesday generally. Sometimes we'll do polls twice a week, but this week there's just too much going on. So if I could ask you, Yolanda, pop the quiz in the chat, and best of luck, grade 8s. I hope you enjoy the quiz, and I will see you again on Monday for lesson 3 in our algebra series.